Welcome back to episode 7 of the 5-chapter rule. This week we have Monster Hunter Flash Hunter, which is always interesting. I am a big fan of Monster Hunter, so it was nice to do a Monster Hunter manga. So, the brief story summary of this one is... Oh, before I get to that, actually, the author of this, Ikami Kanechi, doesn't seem... Has he not done anything else? He's not done anything else, but there's also a second author and artist who's Shim Yamato, who has done a Sekiro manga adaptation, and a manga called Nakari no Adu, which I don't know if it's got an English title. I don't think it has, actually. It's about the Lucifer, I think Lucifer or Demon King, whether wants to become human and he has to kill all the other Demon Kings to become human. One of those ones.
Right.
So it's an action adventure fantasy shonen, which basically means Monster Hunter. So we'll get into a brief story summary, which is, I'm tempted to do a really stupid voice, but I won't. In the era where monsters dominate the sky, earth, and sea, a race of hunters emerge. Equipped with an arsenal of special equipment, they hunt their gigantic prey according to quests given out by a guild. Although novice, Raggy is a young hunter who is reckless and persistent, with a headstrong nature. He will have to cooperate with Kais and Tochi, an archer and swordswoman, with complementary capacities, but with opposite characters. Together, the group launches into hunts of creatures more ferocious than the ones before, including the Raytheon and the legendary queen of the land. Basically, this sounds like a blurb of a Monster Hunter game, pretty much, which is fine by me. I'll have to say I was quite curious about how well of adaptation this would be, because I read one of the Monster Hunter before, which was... I forgot what it was. It was done by the guy who did Rave Master.
Hiro Mashima, yeah.
And I don't think it was the best adaptation of Monster Hunter. So I was curious about how well this would do it. I guess straight from that, let's go quickly into a bit about the plot. Plot starts off with a team parting ways before giving us like a 2 months earlier kind of trope thing. It's just one of those things. I haven't seen it for a little bit, but there it is. It does fit the story though for the hunters, I guess. The rest of the plot that we see in the first chapters are basically the hunters starting up and getting ready and getting used to hunting and doing that. It's perfectly serviceable done for an early story. I have to say, it was a little bit nostalgic when I first played Monster Hunter Tri. Where do I put the traps? Oh, the monsters run away. Oh, well, that's annoying. How do I track it? I'll use a paintball. Okay. I missed the paintball.
Yeah, the one thing this series has is Monster Hunter fan service. If you know anything about the series, you'll get a lot of random stuff out of this. The author of this, clearly a massive fan of Monster Hunter. The research here is because it is... I think it's supposed to be Monster Hunter Tri, to be fair. It very much reminds me of Monster Hunter Tri. I think it even had the fisherman from Monster Hunter Tri in it. So I'm assuming that's roughly... I mean, they've toned down quite a bit of it, but it's still pretty decent, yeah.
It says 2019, but...
It's Monster Hunter, it's Generations, because it's got the Kipeko in it.
So in the plot, like I say, it is just a run of mill of the hunters getting used to each other, starting off, and going on the missions. There isn't a complex nature to it.
Well, I'll explain a little bit because I've just quickly
flick through it again. Main bro is a great sword user
Yeah.
who always thinks it's the best idea to constantly run in and attack it from the front.
Well, I will get into the character section first. I was just trying to focus on the plot.
His
but yeah,
crew doesn't like that, so they abandon it. They basically break the clan up for honestly really funny reasons, which I did appreciate. Like the
your audio
Warhorn
cut
user
out for a bit
decides.
there.
Go on.
Your audio cut out.
Oh.
So you went. Well, he's a great sword user, and then you cut out.
Oh, well, he's a great sword user, and then the clan breaks up for some of them are funny reasons, like the Warhorn guy decides to become a musician because he likes how the things sound.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then he decides to move to another city, and that's where he meets the great gun user guy. And then when they get to that village, no one decides to hire them because they're wearing armor of creatures they have never seen, so they can't determine how strong they are.
Mm. Oh yeah, and some guys are wearing Royal Ludolf armor inside the fighter Quebecer and got super blasted by fire because Royal Ludolf armor is weak to fire.
You know how hard it is to hurt a hunter in Monster Hunter? These people took physical damage.
Well, that's because they actually are a different race, and not humans.
Well, these ones are. They said they're humans.
Oh well, I think in the actual law, there's no the human race. Technically, they're not technically the same as our human race.
Yeah,
They're very
because they can jump off
genetically different.
cliffs and be perfectly fine.
The superhumans.
Yeah, they're incredibly hard to hurt.
Yeah. Well, unless you're that poor lady in the butterfly armor from that movie. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I did like
That
though
was-
how because I read the first bit, but it was like a before chapter, like a chapter 0. And right at
Yeah.
the beginning, it showed what all their weapons and armor are. And for a Monster Hunter guy, that's quite nice.
Yeah, so the guy who did this is clearly a massive fan.
Because it explains a lot
attention
of
to
things
detail.
in the know.
So I guess as you mentioned about the Raiki, we might as well start with the character section, which is, I guess, is it Raige?
Ryger.
Raige. He is, again,
I'll say it. He's a dumbass.
the reckless hothead of the group.
Yeah.
Again, Naruto,
The
he
great
is
sword user.
extremely Naruto, to be fair. He actually acts like a bull. I thought it was funny because when I read the first bits, I thought he reminded me of a Bullfango, which if you ever play the game, is just the things are just constantly just ramming to. They attack anything, and they'll happily attack any big giant monster and you, even if they get even though they know they'll get one shot, they'll just attack anything. And funnily enough, later in the chapters, when the characters calls him a Bullfango. Yeah, he's the type of person to use himself as a shield to protect others, though at the same time. At the end of the day, he is literally a Naruto clone.
Yeah.
And the Naruto reference will continue with the shonen. Was Naruto the first series with a shonen trio?
No.
Was it one what popularized it though?
Well, for like just shonen in general.
Yeah, having like the shonen trio where you have like the two guys, the one hothead, the one cool intelligent guy, and then the girls a bit over the top.
No, that'd be.
Cause I've seen quite a lot of them since Naruto came out.
There's a couple before Naruto. I just can't place it off the top of my head.
So it's one of those tropes been around for a while. It seems to be a common theme these days. So after Raiki, we get Kez, who is
The heavy bow gunner. Yeah, your microphone likes cutting out as well.
special skill that he's able to move agilely with the heavy duty bow gun, which you can't actually do in the games. Mostly calm, brutally honest. He does come across as a bit of an edgelord with a stick up his own rear, but
Well, it's not surprising when his ally is constantly running in like an idiot.
To be fair, he was like that before they even did a mission together. This high and mighty chip on the shoulder kind of
Yeah, and then
mentality.
the third character, which is the lady, who is the technical user, basically, who just does traps and gets all the equipment.
She's got quite a slow nature and is very amateurish, which gets her a lot of stick with the other characters. Not the other two, but in other characters in the world, like her first hunting party, for example. Although she may not be the greatest fighter, like I say, she's very knowledgeable, which makes her an important part of the team. So she's brains, not brawn. Raggy is brawn without brains, and then Kez is a bit of both, I guess, is kind of how we're going with this. I think they're the only three characters worth mentioning at this point, really.
Yeah.
In the series, we got some other hunters who get their asses handed to them, and a mentor character reference, but not really much else.
Well, the only reason they got their ass kicked is because the Rathalos appeared out of nowhere.
Oh, it was a Raytheon.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a Raytheon. I know the difference. I played Monster Hunter enough that I know the difference between a Raytheon and a Rathalos.
To be fair, when it's black and white, they're really hard to tell.
The tail's different, and the face is different, and also it says it's a Raytheon. Hence by the blurb saying that the main target to fight is a Raytheon after what happens in the beginning. So I guess from there it's worth going into the art. The character art has really detailed line art. Like there's some very small details on the gear and armor with some nice like levels of shading. So you got a nice scale shade instead of being like with some manga where it's just literally just black and white. You've got a nice like grey scaling of shading.
I've just checked. Chapter 6 is called Queen of the Land, so it is definitely a Rathian.
Yeah, there we go then. I do like the shading aspects. I don't see it enough sometimes.
There's no backgrounds though.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah,
It's like none at all.
Yeah, the backgrounds are pretty much desolate. You get like a little twig and a little bit of lines. But so the background art is gone pretty much. But you have, like I said, the characters are very detailed. You can tell when it's the weapons or the gear. If you played any of the games, you instantly recognize what this armor set is, what this sword is. It is exactly copy and paste from the games. The faces are limited on detail, but the expressions are well done, so you can still understand what the characters are feeling at the time, even with the limited facial details. Like I said, the backgrounds are very limited, mostly just like a little bit of line art, and sometimes just complete voids of nothing. But as it being quite a heavy action series, it's probably not that important to have that much detailed backgrounds because they're constantly moving about, constantly like things exploding or them jumping to the side. It's more about the actions rather than the actual scenery. One thing I do appreciate is the occasional detailed splash pages, which look really nice.
They do look nice, yeah.
They were quite nice. Have you got anything else to say in the art before we get into the design aspect?
I don't think so. I think most stuff's done.
Design then, again, as I just said, it's the hunters, gear, and the monsters. They are so accurate. Like I was really impressed. Like when was it the first chapter where you had the Baroth coming around, flaming mud. The detail of that looks the skull, the face, everything looks so much like the game. You know, instant flashbacks to the game when reading this. The Quebecer, the Raytheon, you know, instantly like I have to say, very impressed, very detailed.
A part of me thinks it's like so close to games that it's gonna put off new people who haven't played the games reading it.
I mean, I think it might cover enough that okay, they're fighting this monster. That they say this monster uses fire, so they're putting on fire resistant stuff. I guess it shouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna guess the guy actually had one of these Monster Hunter art books and had it in front of him when he was doing some of the artwork. So I guess as you're saying that, before we get to would we read more, have you got anything else left to say?
I don't think so. I think most of my points have been
Covered.
Because I think right at the beginning it shows like an attack by an actual Rathalos. Like in a backstory of like their village got attacked by it or something, and I just thought to myself, of course that's the main boss. What else would it be?
An Altreon?
There is
Tessero?
no way these mooks are going to beat an Electrion.
A Tessero? A Lumisaur?
Rathalos is like the biggest thing normal hunters can fight.
Well, if it's Monster Hunter Tri, like I think it is, it would be a Lagios, wouldn't it?
No, I think it's Monster Hunter Gen this because it's got a Cube Echo in it.
Well, I don't know. Cube Echo's in Tri as well. It came out before Generations. And looked at the original dates actually a lot earlier than the online version. It came out a good few years ago, before Generations were a thing.
Yeah, this series is also finished as well.
Yeah, it is exactly 10 volumes. If you want to buy it, you can buy it in the shop still. I think it's the first one you could easily buy in the UK. So I guess the aspect of would we read more? Well, I'm a big Monster Hunter fan. So, and because it's a really good adaptation, yes, I'll happily read more. It will give me nostalgia to my early days playing Monster Hunter, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. So it's only, I think, 80 chapters ish, 10 books.
I think it is about 80, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll happily read more. I'll probably finish it, to be fair. I'm always on the lookout for more Monster Hunter stuff, which is very hard to get over in the UK, unfortunately. Like, for example, Capcom blooming released the last 2 Monster Hunter art books in English by now. For crying out loud, the Iceborne art book's been out for years. I want in English.
We're not allowed nice things.
Because their books are like proper design books. So much detail. Writing and all that. But anyway, that's for another video. Any last words?
No, it's alright.
Then I think we need to spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel and tell me what we got in next.
And let's see what we're going to get next time. Alright, spin that wheel. Oh, that's fascinating. Ikari no Go. Ikari
Christ,
no Go.
here we go. You know anything about Hikari no Go?
Oh my god, this is a blast from the past.
Hikaru no Go is the shogi manga.
Yes, it's the one where he's possessed by a spirit. I know this because I remember reading random odd chapters in the monthly Shonen Jump when I used to sell physical copies of it. Back in the day, I remember reading random chapters of that.
Well, I mean, I will give this a go. I cannot play Go, so I'll have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I never actually read the beginning of this. I've only seen like random chapters, like I say, in the monthly Shonen Jump. And because it was so inconsistent getting them over here in the UK, I would go months sometimes without getting a copy. So, yeah, this would be interesting. Wow. Didn't this come out back in the early 2000s? Yeah, it came out in, what, 99 or something?
Its final chapter, which was chapter 191, aired in 2018 in February.
I think it might come out
earlier than that, because this might be just the online version. Because it won an award in 2000. And it was only 191 chapters, it would have finished.
It started in January 1999.
Wow. We're going a bit old school here. This will be interesting. So, Akari no Go. This
And
will be
what
an
else do we
interesting
have?
one. So, I'll spin the wheel again. It lets me spin it. And our second manga is... What the hell is that?
Go on.
Oh, for crying out loud. The wheel picked the Rising of the Vibrator Hero. Yeah, I'm putting a big red cross through that. I'm not even going to knock that one up. No. Why is there a manga like that? Why? Why? Goddamn isekais. Ugh. I think you agree with me that we're not covering that? Yep.
I will state yes. I mean, as funny as it would be, no, we're not doing that one.
No. I'm expecting... Yes, it has got small tag. Yeah, I thought it might. Yeah, we're not doing that. Alright, spinning again. Okay. I don't know this one. The Legendary Moonlight Sculptor.
Oh,
I've never read this.
it's really good.
Oh, okay. So you know this one then.
I do.
Oh,
I
wow.
haven't read it in years. It'd be nice to start it again.
Oh, did it finish?
No,
It says
it's still ongoing.
It says ongoing, but last time it was uploaded was November 2020.
Because they decided to remake Legendary Moonlight Sculptor again.
Oh. So it's...
So they got
Oh.
169 chapters in, and then they're like, we need to start this again with better artwork.
Oh, you're joking.
No.
So, is the second one Moonlight Sculptor for Coma? Which one is it then? What's the Mew version then?
I can't remember, but because I've seen it another time that looks different than that one. Or this might be the remake one, they just haven't updated it for a while.
Maybe.
It is a webtoon. It's pretty good.
This webtoon started in 2019, so... That was Vietnamese, apparently.
Yeah, this is not a... It's sort of online-ish.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the blurb quickly, yeah. Man known as the God of War and highly popular MMORPG. The continent magic.
Yep. Do you
So it
want to
says-
stick with this one?
Well, I'm going to guess that this is not the original bad artwork, because I'm just looking at the first chapter here. That is some beautiful artwork. And colouring. Whoever did the colouring, my God, they better paid him well. So this can't be the bad artwork one. This must be the good one then.
Yeah, I could have sworn that they remade it again.
Ah. Well, I'll read the one that's available to me here, which has got some beautiful artwork. From the 2019-2021. So that's our next two mangas. We have next week will be Akari no Go, and the week after that will be the Legendary Moonlight Sculptor.
Oh, that's what it was. I remember now. It wasn't remade. It finished season 1, then took a year's break, and when season 2 happened, it looked completely different. That was it.
So what is season 2 got a different name?
No, it's just the same. It's like better artwork, but slightly different. So it's like another person started it, maybe.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where it started again, because the artwork from the first chapter looks... Well, what's the artwork? The colouring. The colouring looks amazing. I'm looking at a far more recent chapter here, and it's got a typical webtoon look.
Yeah.
Well, the first ones have this like super over the top detailed.
Yeah, it
which,
changed a little.
Would probably be really hard to keep up. All right.
So we've got Hikaru no Go and Legendary Moonlight Sculptor.
So I haven't read either of these two, so this will be
I
interesting.
can guarantee you,
for
it
me.
doesn't explain why he's called the legendary Moonlight Sculptor in the first 5 chapters.
To be fair, it's quite a lot of isekai titles, and you're like, why have you chosen that? I mean, hell, even some mangas like, Damachi, most people don't call it by its original title because it has nothing to do with the plot after the first chapter.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, they're 2 different ones, I'll give you that.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Right then. So this is the end of this review. Until next time, goodbye.